Hi, I'm Josh Kohn from Kohn Creative and Carol Magazine,
I'm Matt Kohn from Kohn Creative and Carol Magazine as well.
and we're the Brothers Kohn.
Yes, we are.
So often we get questions about how can you work with your brother?
Well, I think a lot of families have difficulty getting along. We've never had the problem. We have similar interests, and that's what allows us to do that.
We also get the question all the time, well, how did you guys start the business? And actually, I think the economy wasn't so great when we did start it, but we were kind of oblivious to that.
I don't recall that. But,
We had just both, we were in college at the time. I went to...
we were just finishing up
Yeah, and
senior year.
I went to the University of Maryland, College Park.
And I went to University of the Arts in Philadelphia.
And you were working at a motorcycle company at the time, actually.
I was selling motorcycles. Yeah.
Right, and I was driving a delivery truck for a printing company.
That's when we started the company, because
Yeah.
I was working for another design firm in Philly when I was still in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were living in our parents' house on the third floor of their brownstone in Baltimore City.
That's where we had our offices. They were very luxurious.
We had a cat that we used to lay across the table. Remember? What was his name?
I don't remember.
Murray.
Was that Murray?
That was Murray.
Okay.
Murray the cat.
He was great.
And it's funny, we have a cat now. His name's Zippy. For those of you that have done business with us, he's our mouser in the building.
Yeah. He's the company cat.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him.
But anyways, we started the business in 1987, and we figured we could be industrial designers at the time.
We had trouble finding industrial design work, but we had a really nice portfolio. And everybody we showed the portfolio to looked at it and said, I don't need any industrial design help at this time, but can you design a brochure for me? And that's when it started snowballing with the graphics.
I think that they just didn't want to give a couple of young bucks $1 million to develop a product.
We would have done it for a whole lot less than $1 million.
For sure. So then after we started the business, we were both still working at the time. And
Part-time jobs.
Part-time jobs. And
We had to supplement,
oh, we weren't making any money.
No. It took, I think, would it take 5 years for us to start making any?
No, it took, well, you're jumping ahead. I mean, we really took a big risk. We bought a Macintosh computer with a Macy's credit card. We had no money. We went into debt immediately.
Yeah.
And I remember that computer was $4,000
Yeah.
back in 1987.
That's a lot back then.
And the computer itself wasn't, enough. It was the advent of the laser printer, which was
Right.
everything.
When we had the original Mac Plus, we had 3.5-inch floppy disks, and the programs that we would use, we had to stick the disk into the computer to operate the program. And then if we wanted to save the file, we had to switch the disks for a file that would allow us to save it.
Right. There was nothing. There were no hard drives available at the time. No. And when the hard drives came out, I think they were 10 gigabytes.
Small. But the files were...
I don't even know if they were 10 gigabytes.
But they were just black and white, graphics, so we didn't need much.
So we started developing those, and we were able to do computer graphics, which was real techie at the time. And I stopped working first, and you were still working at the motorcycle shop. So I was receiving a little bits of money from the business we were doing, and then you quit the motorcycle shop.
Right.
After we got busy enough.
Yep. Yeah, then as about the time we moved to our new location, we moved out of our parents' house to a place on Cold Spring that was so small, but
it was the back office of a package broker.
Right. Yeah, and
it had a bathroom.
Yeah, and
that was it.
Yeah, and we got stat camera because we were still doing graphics the old way on paste up on a drawing board. But we still had that laser printer so we could print out some of the stuff and take pictures.
So we're doing our own typesetting.
Yep.
And as we got busier and busier, we actually brought in a image setter, which created negatives for printing.
Yeah.
That was a big step. I mean, that was a $25,000 investment.
Was it that much?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it was
gosh.
$25,000.
And we had probably, 2 additional employees at that time.
Yeah. And then we were there for about 3 or 4 years.
Something like that.
And outgrew the space because we were sitting on top of each other in that tiny back room. And then we moved to Owings Mills to a 3,000 square foot facility.
It was 2 rental spaces that we combined.
Well, first it was one.
Oh, well, it was the 3,000. We went to 6,000.
Yeah.
We rented.
And so we filled up that 3,000 square feet. And what really made us grow is we decided to get printing presses.
Yeah. Traditional printing presses. That's all there were back then. We didn't have the other stuff. It wasn't, I'm sure there were copiers, but that wasn't good enough quality. So we were running, all kinds of stuff on 2-color presses and running it through 2 times to get 4 colors and trying to line everything up. And yeah, that was difficult.
Well, it allowed us to grow, and we had multiple designers. We had pressmen, and then digital printing came about with the Indigo printing press. And the Indigo printing press was, you had to have 2 Indigo printing presses because they broke down so much. And that was a huge investment. That was $130,000 and that was a used Indigo printing press.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that wasn't $100,000. That was $230,000.
It was a used one? We got one that was used?
We just kept getting more and more into debt.
Yeah.
But the business kept growing.
Yeah.
And so when we got that Indigo, we broke through to the next space and grew another 3,000 square feet.
Right. Yeah, and we still always
How long were we there? About 8 years.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was going to say 10, but okay, 8 to 10. Yeah, and then and we found this space that we're in now, the old post office in Westminster. Fell in love with it because it's so unique, and everybody that comes in here says they love our space. We're able to do all the design for the structures inside and so on and so forth, and take whatever colors and design layout that we wanted, and that's where we are now.
It was a big open space, so
16,000 square feet.
Yeah, we designed the interior structures, the desks, and it allowed us to grow. And when we came here to Westminster, we brought in a Heidelberg printing press, and that thing was a monster.
Yeah, but still traditional.
It was a 4-color process with perfecting, which means it can print both sides in one pass as a 2-color job. And that was earth-shattering for us.
But we also still had the Indigo. So,
yeah,
we still had the Indigo. And we went through some serious... Didn't we upgrade at one time? Did we...
Yeah, we upgraded the Indigo to the next level of Indigo. But as soon as we moved in this building in 2001, what happened? September 11th.
Oh, yeah, September 11th. Was that as soon as we...
Yeah, it was. We moved in May.
Right.
I'm sorry. No, we moved in January, I think.
One of the most interesting things you forgot to tell everybody is that this allowed us to actually move up to the next level. We actually got the license for creating the Star Trek Next Generation communicator pin with sound.
That's right.
And, it made this chirping sound when you press it on your shirt. But we sold 350,000 of those things. We got the license from Paramount. We sold nationally and internationally. And then the license ran out, and we continued on with the rest of the stuff.
Well, I think they gave the license to a big toy company.
Yeah.
Because they saw how successful it was, and we didn't have the distribution network to distribute it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was an interesting time.
Something we also forgot to mention is back in 1995, we were still in Owings. That was a loud car. Back in 1995, we were still in Owings Mills.
Yeah.
And the internet became a viable tool for marketing.
Right.
And we created our own servers and started designing HTML websites. We were one of the first to start doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's become, a big part of our business now is digital marketing.
Right. Right. We had coders and everything working for us, and now it's not necessary anymore to have the coders because everything's done with WordPress and plugins, and it's much faster and cheaper than having to do HTML and coding.
Right.
But yeah.
So now we've been here in our actually I got to step back because in 2006. So let me step back. So in 2001, when the economy tanked because of 9/11, it was a similar situation that we're in right now with the COVID-19 virus. Everything stopped.
Right.
And I seem to remember major printers going out of business right and left because there was no package that the government went through to give them money to stay alive. And
no, they didn't have that, did they?
No.
Yeah.
And I remember the Art Litho Company, which was one of Baltimore's largest printers, folded.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking. But we survived it because we had multiple revenue streams.
Right. Yes. Yeah, because we don't do just printing.
Right.
Yeah, all the other things that we offer.
So then in the next challenge was the economy tanking in tanking in 2007, 2008.
Right. Yeah, that was more difficult than I think 9/11.
Yeah.
Because we had to make all kinds of changes to the company.
We had to make cuts, and so we've been through this this is like our third time that we've been through something like this, and we're going to have another episode on how to handle this situation from a business standpoint with John Gallen, who's our business manager. He went through it too.
Right. Right.
So after September 11th, we survived. After 2007, 2008, we survived. And in 2006, I seem to remember a slow period. And you and I were sitting right in this conference room here looking at the walls going, how are we going to pay for this building?
Yeah.
And
that was 2006?
2006 is when we started Carol Magazine.
Right. Okay. So that's...
Yeah. And, we put all this money into developing Carol Magazine, and then a year and a half later, the economy tanks.
Yeah, that seems to be always the case with our timing,
right.
with everything. But we're still in business, and we're hanging in. We're still strong. We still have all the capabilities. We try to keep keep up with the technology as far as the way everything's going. I mean, this video blog that we're shooting right now is shot on using 3 iPhones and a switcher that operator is doing the switching right now instead of doing it individually, bringing in all the different files and switching within a program. So it's really pretty sophisticated.
It's all done wirelessly too.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yep.
Where were we?
We were talking about all the things that we went through.
Yeah.
But,
so we're going through it again.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do now is to be creative and pull new ideas out. And hopefully our clients and people that watch this video will see things that this is ways that they can get out to their customer.
Right.
And in the end, I think we've found it's just staying in communication with the client.
Right now. Yeah, right now. Yeah.
It's hard to do business right now, but letting everybody know we're here, we're healthy. Let's, give us a call. We'll come up with ideas.
Our plan is to be ready when this whole thing blows over.
Right.
And so you have a place to come to when you need to start marketing again. and we're here.
So we'll see you next time. Appreciate you watching.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.